The Human Rights Poker Game. I'm Brian Lilley with TheRebel.media. Last week, told you about the fact that certain rights trump other rights in Canada. It's not supposed to be that way. There's not supposed to be a hierarchy of rights, but there is. And in the case of Trinity Western University in Ontario, court decided that, well, gay and lesbian rights trump religious freedoms, even though those are spelled out at the very beginning of the Charter. They are the first rights enunciated. Well, coming into work on Monday morning, what did I see? This story: civil liberties groups out of niqab case. What's this about? Well, a number of groups had applied to be intervenors in the case of Zunaira Ishaq. This is the woman that I've been telling you about for some time now, the woman from Pakistan that came to Canada in 2008, that wanted to be a Canadian citizen, but was horrified at the idea that she might have to show her face while swearing an oath of allegiance to this country. So she challenged the government in court. And the judge, deciding that, well, freedom of religion wouldn't actually work in this case, went with the freedom of judges to allow people to exercise their freedom of religion. That's how he got around it and said that Zunaira Ishaq and others could wear a niqab over their face. They could have their faces covered. They could wear the full damn burqa, for all he cared, while swearing their oath of citizenship, meaning you couldn't actually hear them, you couldn't see them necessarily, to make sure that they were swearing allegiance to the Queen and country. Well, the government has decided that they're going to appeal it, and a bunch of civil liberties groups, including the Ontario Human Rights Commission and the Canadian Civil Liberties Association, they've jumped on board. They've decided that they're going to get involved in this case. Let me ask you this: were either of them there for Trinity Western University? No, because in those cases, they thought that secular rights should trump religious rights. But when it comes to a Muslim, they're going to say that religious rights should trump. This is where you need your lefty decoder ring to kick in, because both of these organizations follow Sullivans' first rule. Any organization not explicitly right-wing will over time become left-wing. And these groups are decidedly left-wing. So they're going to fight for this. It's a bit like the Weber Academy story that we told you here about at TheRebel.media back in April. This is a secular school, secular private school in Alberta, fined by the Alberta Human Rights Tribunal for not allowing Muslim students to pray. They don't allow anyone to pray. It's a secular school. They've decided that this is the way they're going to go, and parents know this going in. That ruling came down roughly the same time as the Supreme Court was saying, you know what, you cannot pray to open a city council meeting, a town council meeting. It's banned. There is one set of rules for one group and one for the other, and that's what's so disturbing, and it's also what's going to cause problems across the country. And we're told that we need to accept new people and new ways of doing things out of social cohesion. And yet, those of us that have been part of what is the established way of doing things in Canada are told that we have to change the way we've been doing things out of social cohesion. Turn the country upside down, turn it on its head, change it into something it wasn't, change it into something it never has been, and that is social cohesion to the left. That is social cohesion to the human rights tribunals, the civil liberties groups. This is the new way of doing things. You won't know what the actual winning poker hand is until the lefty decoder ring has established it. But let me just say this: the way things are going right now, if you are supporting something that is traditionally Western or traditionally Christian, the chances are you're going to lose. This is the new reality in Canada. This is the way that some people want the country to go. I don't think it's the way that most of the country wants to go, but it is the way that things are going now. If this is the way that the elites at the top want to continue to do things, and they want to tell the rest of us just to never mind, scurry along and don't ask questions, social cohesion is not what they will get. Social unrest is what they will get. Animosity, neighbor against neighbor, and a distrust among the population. That's what will happen. That's what happened in Quebec when they had the Hérouville incident, when they had the reasonable accommodation debate in the province. Most of the province was saying one thing, the people at the top were saying something else. The result, a lot of social unrest in Quebec. I see that spreading to the rest of the country because I see our politicians and our media elites making the same mistakes here that they did in Quebec. It's not going to end well. We need to find ways to come together in telling one group that they have to keep their religion out of the public square while telling everyone else we have to allow another religious group to have their views, their way of doing things in the public square, even if it overturns centuries of legal precedent, well, that is a recipe for disaster.